everybody. Today I'm with James Brockhurst. And what's your channel called now, James?
It's called the Energy Flow Tribe.
The Energy Flow Tribe. Anyway, it's been a little while since we've talked, but I asked James what picture he wanted me to put up, and he said that one, and we all know what that is. Well, the Union Jack or the Union flag. But thinking about it, James, I probably know it, I don't know why, because I told you what it means. For it to be the Union Jack, it has to be on the front of a warship. So other than that, it's a Union flag, but we all know it as the Union Jack, don't we? And what does that mean? That we're the head of the Armada or something here?
Something like that, yes.
Oh, damn. I have never seen this David Bowie LP before.
I think it was from 1997.
Well, that puts him out as a goodie, doesn't it?
Does it?
What, you think he is a goodie?
Well, say what you see, like Roy Walker would say on Catchphrase, take away a square and tell me what you see.
I see a man wearing a Union Jack suit. It's a cartoon one, but he's still wearing a Union Jack, and we know what that means. It means, I was telling you beforehand, I just think, because they say the Union Jack, and that's on the front of a warship, we must be the head of everything.
What else can you see in the picture?
Land. Flat land.
Yeah.
Flat sky.
Anything else?
He's got his hands behind his back, his legs open.
Yeah.
What else do you want me to... What else? Water? What have I missed?
Right. Look up right in the middle of his back. You see you've got two triangles.
Yeah.
He's also referencing XIS or XI with the...
What's that then?
With that shape. 1x is 9 and x1 is 11.
Which means?
Well, it's not balanced. It's not 2020, and it's it's slightly one side. It's sort of depending on which chronology or calendar you use. I mean, it could be September. It could be November.
Oh, what? When she died? Supposedly.
Who?
Oh, you're talking about the Queen?
No. No, I'm talking about the numeric codes. Numbers go from 1 to 9. And combinations of 1s and 9s and 9s and 1s, like 911 and things like that.
And I've learnt so much. I mean, obviously, we haven't spoken. I don't know if it will change your mind to anything about what you're going to say today, but I was watching... it wasn't my video, but it is on Sun and Moon. I did mirror it. It's about Ireland, and did you know that Ireland was independent?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember you saying about this yesterday.
Oh, right. So they were independent in the 1920s, and then what it was is they needed something to keep them there, and he reckoned, this guy, that the Second World War was all to do with Ireland, and basically... they'd gone from being an independent country, and then of course emergency law comes in, and we know what that is now. It's a way of changing all the laws. We've already had that. We've been locked down for 3 years, and then their constitution changed. Their constitution was to God, and obviously the other one is to the crown. And he was even explaining that Southern Ireland is not free like you think it is. Even though they say they're independent, he still reports to Charles. So there's big things going to happen where they're going to unite Ireland, probably. But ultimately, even if Sinn Féin takes over, because they seem to be winning a lot of seats at the moment, they will still report to Charles.
Oh. It's all good
for
fun.
anybody who doesn't know, Sinn Féin, probably in the 1970s, was deemed as a terrorist organisation, which was killing lots of people. And now they're in government. So 1 minute you're the baddie and then you're the goodie. It's crazy. And then what's the other bit? So and also we've been doing what's the name law? Court law. Realising that you basically join a dry a ship in dry dock, and stuff like that, and that you when you get a court order, it's actually a contract, and you need to understand the contract. Quantum law, I think that's it. So basically, if you don't understand, I mean, none of us do, really. I mean, you might do, and certain other people might do, but most of us don't know what it really means. And you need to understand quantum law, because that's what they use in a court.
It's just another. It's just another state set.
Well, what he was saying was that because law doesn't really exist, and you don't really go to court for the punishment, they can't try you for it, but they do it under these, what do you call it? Corporate law isn't necessarily law. It's just, well, what's the word? I've been saying it all week. It's I can't think of the word now, James. But it's not actually law. It's just the way they do things, and so everything it's not even law. Oh, it's just this is ridiculous.
It's fun.
No, James, I want them gone. Hopefully before I die.
Who?
The Romans. I want the Romans gone.
I think they have.
Oh, what, you think we've been left here? Is that why everybody's got black eyes on the television?
No.
They're codes. That's what you're being tried through, is codes, not law. So I thought that was a bit... It's like, what are we living in? Everything to me just looks worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. I don't like it. If I had enough money, I'd buy an island and we could all go and live on it. That's how I feel. I want to get out of here. I think it's evil here, really evil. What they're doing, the whole thing, like, the postmen are on strike, and you think, oh, but actually they're striking because lots of them are going to lose their job. When you go to the post office, you can get other carriers there now to take your parcels, and they're cheaper than Royal Mail. Royal Mail are going to become one of them. Post boxes are going, and their jobs are going. And, the nurses are on strike. Everybody's on strike. The planes, trains, you name it.
Well,
it's not funny, James.
It's hilarious. It's a divine comedy.
There's no one to strike to, though, because no one listens to you. There's no one to help us. We're in here on our own.
It's hilarious. It's winter time, so it seems the ideal time of year to be playing baseball. And was it 3 months and you're out?
And also, do you, I think this is going to be, sorry about my phone giving messages there, but do you think that this is going to be the poorest Christmas in record? Because I do. I don't think people are spending money this Christmas.
No, I think it's going to be an absolutely... it's not a birthday, but I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
No, it'll be a fantastic day, but nobody would have spent any money. And it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, they hype us. They were actually putting Christmas ads out in October. I mean, who the flip wants to see that in October? And I just hope that they're so greedy, and most of them will go bankrupt, because we don't need most of those companies. We need food and things like that. But, Amazon is enormous. We don't need all these things. They're only bringing clothes and things. I don't know. I just think it's changing. I just think this place is evil. And Gillian was telling us about how they're trying it out in certain towns. Like they're doing it, she said, in Oxford here, and there's other places around the world. You can only travel 25 miles out of your area. And if you go more than 100 times, you'll need you'll need a badge to get out. Your car will be monitored. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that sounds like martial law almost. Because you can't go places more than so many times a year. Otherwise you have to be registered. Have you ever... It's all to do with global. So that they're pretending that this is going to help the globe. I'm sorry, I have to laugh because there is no globe. Global means money, and everything with them is about money. And they're lying through their rotten teeth. That's what I see. Sorry. I just had to say that. Anyway, James, so that's what I've been doing this week. All that stuff, which kind of opened my eyes a little bit to things. So you carry on then. And now we see David Bowie in a Union flag. Oh yeah, don't forget the Barbie doll. The Barbie David Bowie that's £102 at Amazon.
Wow, I won't be buying one.
No, I don't think you will, James. James, when did you notice this LP a long time ago, or is it just something that's come into your mind recently?
Oh, I've known about it for a long, long time, but it all depends on the frequency as to what comes through.
What we see, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's strange though, because he looks like he's facing this way, but he isn't. He's facing the other way.
Yeah, it's a guiding message for humanity.
And also that one there, he's even independent. He's actually performing with it on there. But so what do you think it's telling us then?
Well, look at where he's looking.
To the water.
And there's land beyond the water.
Yeah.
But does it look to be real? Or does it look to be CGI?
CGI?
Does it look to be... Yeah. He's basically saying, turn your back on it.
But he's looking at it.
Yeah, but remember we're in the world of Maya and reflections and illusions, so things come out the opposite way round here. An opposite, a react... Was it the Einstein thing?
Do you think he was killed?
No, nobody dies. An action causes an opposite and equal reaction. We're on the solid material side of things.
Do you think he was telling us about flat land looking at that?
No. This is a computer simulation. It works like a magnet, which a magnet will produce its own poop, which is its own food. One of the clues is in a line. I think I've shown everybody the dark side of the moon, but it's sort of. I think it's on the album. It says digging around on a piece of ground in your hometown. Then 10 years have got behind you. Well, 10. It's a decade. It's decade. This is the realm of death, but it doesn't want you dead. It wants you barely alive to feed off your energy.
That's about right, isn't it? That's what's happening to us all.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so... And you know what? If you go to the internet right now, all you see is Charles and Harry. Harry and Charles. Like, if that's the most important thing, when basically our country looks like it's going to the dogs. Everybody's on strike and they're ignoring it. I mean, but there's no one to go to, please. Everybody, there's almost no point striking. I mean, I know we go on our marches, but that's because we feel like we want to. But there isn't anybody to go to. There's no one. No ombudsman, no government, no nothing. They're not going to help. None of them.
Oh, of course they won't help. They're part of that material realm.
Part of the Romans.
You're in a real-to-real reality. And... I mean, I don't consider myself a real person.
It is almost like we're plugged in here, isn't it? Because we can't really see the back of our head. We can only see forward. We can't see, I know you can look round, but we don't see behind us. We're in this body.
Yeah. They're pretty good, actually.
He looks like a dart. Yeah, do you know, he looks almost like a dart. The bottom part of the jacket looks like two darts, the ends of the darts.
Well, there's loads of symbology in it with the pyramids, triangles.
Yeah, and is that an 8? The two triangles, does that mean it's an 8?
Yeah.
Sort of, if you get my drift.
Well, they're separate. They're not overlaid, so it's like a separation of two elements.
Sorry if anybody messages. People are messaging all the time to groups and that. I'm sorry, it cuts James out for a second, but I can't stop it. Sorry about that. It might be Mickey sending me messages. Anyway, yeah, I'm a bit shocked. I've never seen that, and are you sure it means that then? Because he's looking at it. So you think he's saying turn your back on it, but he's looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's showing what to avoid looking at, basically. the thing is, like,
Or
think
that the
about his
Union
name.
Jack stands in the way.
Well, yeah, it does basically.
Yeah, because I
But
told
think
you,
about his
I
name.
told you about that. It's not every single flag, because some flags have animals on them or whatever. But generally, about 90, say 95, 98% of the flags all match into that Union Jack. They have lines, triangles, crisscrosses. Jamaica's on a crisscross. They live on the crisscross of what the map I think we're similar to, which is like a star map, but that's another subject. But it is crazy that all the flags match into the Union Jack, and you can work out like where they are and everything. A lot of them, because they've got triangles or crisscrosses or crosses. It's bizarre. That flag fits over, and everybody seems to be under that flag. And do you know something? I just find that really weird. That it's all about. Oh, that was the other one we did, James. Queen Anne. Have you ever heard of her? Queen Anne.
Yeah.
Well, she reminds me when you look at pictures that, you know, like there's two. Oh God, what's his name? I've just forgotten his name. There are two Arthurs, King Arthurs, but they're actually 200 years apart. And then I was watching this program, and they said, but what they've done is they've amalgamated him into one. So the stories are for two people, but they've amalgamated into one. When you look at her, you think, well, she could have been a man looking at her. She's so ugly. But she looks like Queen Victoria to me. But it happened in 1706. This woman, she's not put in history because she wasn't flamboyant enough like Victoria, but I don't care about that. I want the history, or we want to see what they're saying. And she got the Union Jack. She got Scotland to join because they all put their money into being somewhere else, and it went bankrupt, and then Scotland was bankrupt, if you believe that. So that's how they came into joining up with the United Kingdom. And it just goes on. She sorted out the military. We had 40% of the world trading when she was there, and that's quite a lot, isn't it? We're only a little place.
Yeah.
And then she sorted out government. She made a two-tier government, and it goes on. And also Henry VIII took the bounty away from the churches, which was like that priest or vicar, whatever you want to call them. That was like their money. She gave it back. So she sorted everything out in her reign, and they don't want to mention her because she wasn't flamboyant enough. It's pathetic.
Well, she does mention she's a style of furniture. There's plenty of houses that've got Queen Anne bureaus and things, and Queen Anne chairs. she still exists.
But you know what? You can see it happening because they've got the United Kingdom, and then they go for the fake independence with America because it wasn't. It was a corporation to the United Kingdom. So England sort of owns America, the monetary side of it, and then we do all the banking for them. So you think, oh, so they're obviously putting it all in place.
Well, that's the green dream. Anyway, David Bowie. Well, the first clue's in the name. You've got David, which is basically divide. A Bowie is a double-edged knife. He had two completely different colour eyes as well.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Because he's seeing in two different perspectives. Most of his songs are actually clues all the way through. I mean, I haven't been to Oxford Town, and it goes, toll the bell, pay the private eye, all's well, 20th century dies. That's on an album, would you believe, called Inside. There's a benevolent side and there's a non-benevolent side at work. You've heard of this demiurge. It sort of fell into the AI. So in the material world, you've got everything in a logical binary code, but then you've got a metaphysical world which is completely different from that. And we're sort of conduits between the two, really. It's actually the ultimate computer game. It's fun.
You can see on the black and white one. I mean, obviously, I can see it is like a pyramid on his back, isn't it? Really.
It's alluding to like the two triangles.
Don't start. We're on a hangout, and you can't bark. Come on, up here. Come on. She wants to get behind me because I've turned the heater off. It's cold in here. Come on. Just got to get the dog up. Come on. Jump up. Come on. Get up there, stupid dog. Right, she's behind me now. She just wants to be warm. Yeah. Wow, I'm just a bit... I've never seen this before. It's all new to me. It's like... Oh, just a bit shocked to see it. I never knew he had an LP like that. Wow.
Most of his albums.
Oh, was he a law? Was he knighted? Was he Sir David Bowie? Because if he is, he's one of them. Because you know what?
I don't know.
We thought, you know, we've got actors and everything like that, don't we? And we never thought much of it. They're just actors, but these actors are like they're like soldiers, and they do the deeds. They tell you know, like in America, you've got Johnny Depp doing it right now. He's telling everybody everything. His character's earning millions. The actors tell us things, so this is why they get knighted and everything because they're part of their game. It's all part of their game. Anybody who's knighted is all in their game.
Well, at the end of the theatre show, the hero and the villain will come out from behind the curtain. You don't boo the villain. You applaud them both. It's just a show.
Mm.
So all it is an ultimate game show. Yeah, so basically this Demiurge thing sort of fell into the AI and has merged with it and it's a bit stuck. But there's a saying about if you eat, say, a piece of cake or something and people say, oh, that was a bit too rich. This thing feeds on low vibration energy. It's the common denominator. With all the scripts and things it puts out, it wants you to be in a negative, low vibration state because that's its favourite food. And it can merge with that energy and feed off of it. But if you're in high vibration, it's not so easy to digest, and eventually it gives up.
Changing though. I mean, people are waking up. Lots of us know now that everything is fake and it doesn't work or it's a lie. So whereas before they could do things and call on the people and it would work because of the country, because of the flag, it can't happen like that now because we don't believe. A lot of us don't believe in it anymore. Lots of people don't vote. I don't know how they get their voting figures because none of us vote.
Well, they just make it up.
Yeah, of course they do. I'm giving you a 90-seat majority, okay, James?
You've got a consistent message being put out. You've got female to male, so it's telling you it's not natural and it's all not what it appears to be. That's the consistent message from everything on the screens.
Is that why you've got a Barbie David Bowie? There she is, Amazon, £102. A Barbie David Bowie, and it looks like a woman. Doesn't look like him.
Well, he was portrayed as quite an androgynous character.
Yeah,
There's an album.
Yeah, and he came after like Mark Boland, didn't he? I like Mark Boland. He was like another Mark Boland, wasn't he? He better not be Mark Boland.
I don't think so, but
well, you never know anymore, do you? Because you suddenly realise everybody's playing someone else.
Well, yeah. That's the whole point to it. There's only one playing all the parts.
Yeah, in America, it's Johnny Depp. He's the face of everything. Elon Musk, Robert Downey Jr., Brad Pitt, Matt Damon. You put the pictures on top, they're identical, all of them. They're just versions of each other. There's more. I've done the videos.
Yeah, so the whole thing
James,
is...
you know what I did this week? It was by accident because, you know, years ago, Ellie really liked watching Made in Chelsea. And occasionally I just watched them with something to do going to bed. But I realised that two of the boys are playing girls. I made videos about that. And you think, oh, just, oh.
So, made in Chelsea, so it's not made in seashells then, it's like they flips.
You've got that one, The Only Way is Essex, and the other one's made in Chelsea.
If the only way is Essex, I'm going to commit suicide. No way.
Yeah, it's all a bit crazy, isn't it? But then James came to stay at my house last year for a few weeks, and when we were looking at the videos, we could see other actors in the videos, and I was like, oh my God, look, there's such and such. What it is he's playing, say, oh, I can't even think now which ones we saw, but we saw different actors, didn't we? We could see that they were the other actors playing. So in this life, they're say Steve McQueen, but they're actually someone else. Remember, we saw it in the videos, and then we watched some stupid thing with Helen Mirren. Do you remember? They were Danish. The Danish.
Jimi Hendrix and Freeman.
Yeah. It's bizarre what they've done, James.
They haven't done anything.
Yes, they have. They've done everything. They've made the lies. They want the lies.
They haven't done anything.
It's confused. You don't know what you're doing, and you'll just be going, "Oh, follow the Romans."
It's humanity that's doing it.
No, the media's making us do it. They're the ones lying. Because, with the mortgage thing, I actually a few weeks ago, rang the Halifax up, and they said that the guy was a manager, and he said he was a bit astounded at what the media had done. He hadn't, for him, he'd noticed, like, wow, why are they saying that? They're the ones that are pushing. And then, of course, he said they're the reason that we've got millions of phone calls now. The media do it. The media run everything and frighten everybody to death.
They're not doing anything. You can't blame the media.
Yeah, they're the ones doing it. They're making you think things are happening when they're not. They make you worry. They make you think, oh God, I've got to go and buy 20,000 rolls of toilet paper now because everyone's sold out.
They're not making anybody do anything.
People do it, but they watch that, then it frightens them, and then they go and do it.
Oh, they deserve all they get then.
Some of the things you don't have right now, like a car. A few months ago it was petrol problems, so everybody was queuing at petrol stations because the media said there was no petrol.
Oh, the stage. You have to use discernment. If you're going to take any script and end up playing a stupid part in a soap because you've interacted with it, well, whatever happens to you, you brought it on yourself. It's hilarious. It's fun to watch.
I know what you're saying. Basically, you have to get your luggage and step out of the Roman Empire and get on with your life.
No, just let go of all baggage. Let go of all baggage.
You know what I mean. Take your little bits with you, but just when you watch the television and that, you're watching the Roman Empire. Don't watch it.
I don't.
Go and find a piece of land in the middle of nowhere, have no internet, and live your life how you want.
Well, that's already happening. There's a place it's coming to fruition in Portugal, and it's growing, and they're starting to grow their own food and everything, and it's an intentional community.
That's something I realise we need to start growing our own food because we are living under a nanny state, and all they do is go, oh, there's no food on the shelves, and they're going to do it because they love doing this. They love frightening you. You're going to be frightened, so the best thing to do is to try and start growing your own.
Well, you've got to set the scene. So the first thing to do, you've got to sort of bully the Dutch farmers and the Australian farmers and so on into... you've got to give them a story about you don't use nitrogen, it's damaging the environment, the very thing that plants and everything needs. So they will create a food shortage through illusions. This is how they operate. But the only reason it works is because humanity will focus its attention on it and believe it, and that's what gives it the power to come into reality.
It's almost like they're putting us in a war state, like the Second World War. We knew everybody was on rations and all that kind of stuff. But I told you why they do that. They need to have emergency laws so they can change everything. So I could go, you vote for me, I'll give you 6 weeks paid holiday, I'll send you abroad for 2 weeks, give you a car, and I'll promise you all these ridiculous things that you can get, and then we'll have a fake war, and then they change the law, and you don't get any of it. So even if you think you're voting for something, you don't get what you think you're voting for.
Do you know the only difference between a politician and a heroin addict?
is.
One gets media coverage, but in all other aspects they are the same. They will lie and say anything to get their fix.
Yeah.
That's the only difference in it.
That's why I couldn't understand why they chose someone for us. It was like Tony Blair. He was down as a solicitor or a barrister. And I used to watch the House of Commons and they'd say, well, you've done this and what's your answer? And he never answered them. He always buffed it back. He always answered it with a question. And I thought, this is boring. Because I was into politics then, but I thought, this is boring because he never answers anything. Never answers anything.
Evasive.
And of course, America, Clinton was supposed to be a solicitor or a barrister. So's Hillary Clinton. And so they never sort anything out and they never answer you because they always answer you with a question.
Well, I understand it. I've heard rumours they've all had histories in soliciting at one way or another. But the thing is, that's in the past. And that's almost like a seance trying to bring the past into the present. We're a present.
1 second, I think my dog wants to go. I'm just going to let the dog out because she'll make a noise. You want to go to Ellie? Come on, let's go to Ellie. Come on. Let's get rid of the little dog. Come on. Here, in here. Come on. Right, I'm at peace now because she's running around doing things. Yeah, yeah, I don't feel very good about things. I see it all happening. No doctors, no nurses. You can't get anything. Everything's just closing up. You can't get a doctor, you can't, nurses are on strike, the whole thing, it's just, I'm hoping it's collapsing. But
why would you want doctors?
Because we don't want their system anymore. I don't want to be under the Romans anymore. I want to be free. I mean, I am
why
free,
would you even want? Why would you want to use the services of a doctor or a nurse anyway?
I don't, but people do. But I'm just saying, you can't get anything anymore. Everything's changing. I think they're privatised. I don't want it. I'd have to be very ill to go to the hospital. I don't want to go there. But people do.
Well, don't be ill. It's easy.
Yeah, you have to tell yourself every day that everything you're always well and that you've got everything you need.
Well, yeah. I asked the question out loud, which puts a vibration out into the ether, and I asked the universe to give me a sign, and it certainly did that. Somebody kicked in the kitchen door, and then I thought it's going to be this door next, and it's like, not in my room. So I just brought myself back into the present, and I basically set up a little sort of triangle. So when you've got someone who's in a trauma state, and then they put alcohol into the mix, and then put, I don't know whether it was cocaine or heroin on top. Perfect food for this low vibration to use as a puppet.
And then that person can end up destroying things, either themselves or other people, because they're out of their head. Yeah.
Well, it was a very self-destructive path, because I just sort of projected a reason to sort of go out in the hallway where it's all on camera, and the end result is they went away in handcuffs with 8 policemen.
Oh dear. I'll tell you what a lot of it is, James. I feel differently, but most of us don't think we're responsible for ourselves. That's what it is, because they don't care, and a lot of people are narcissists now, and they don't care. So if you're a narcissist who doesn't care, that's why that guy kicking all the doors in.
But they don't know who they are. That's why.
Yeah, or that they are responsible for themselves.
Well, yeah, they've got deep-rooted issues they've not addressed. This is why it's so important that cornerstone that the builders rejected. Well, you need a foundation on which to build, and that requires doing the shadow work, doing the inner work, facing all your dark sides, asking yourself continuously if you're triggered by anything. It's like, what is it in me that's making me feel triggered by I mean, they're only words, but they don't have any power. Clearly they do by the way people react to certain words. It's fun.
Yeah, I know that you see things as I actually don't like it because I know what they're doing and I just worry about everybody else. I think, oh my God, how are the people going to react to this? Because yeah, that's what I think about, James. I know where I am. I know what I want. I know where it is for me. But other people, you know.
Well, the thing to be is indifferent.
Yes. Oh, are we going to carry on looking at David Bowie? Because we could do with a new picture now. People like to see things moving across the screen. I keep moving the pictures round. But are we going to look at anything else, James, or do you want to stay looking at David Bowie?
Well, I can't see it anyway. But try Pink Floyd. Wish You Were Here.
Okay, 1 second. Let's just change the moon, the triangle, and the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Dark Side of the Moon. But Wish You Were Here is two men shaking a hand. Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon is 50 years old next year.
Wow.
And it was released by Harvest Records.
Mm.
Yeah, I've done a breakdown on all the whole album. The other sort of companion album is that Wish You Were Here.
Mm.
That's very revealing about this reality. It's
They want to burn the people, James. That's what. Hang on, I'm going to put this back here. I've moved you slightly away. Hang on, let me just put you back for the recorder. Right. Yeah, there's a man burning, James.
Yeah, there's only one man there.
Two, isn't there? Because there's two of them. One's shaking another man's hand.
No, he's shaking his own hand.
Ah, right. Okay.
He's facing his shadow side. The one is looking to the buildings that are illuminated by sunlight. The other one is looking to the ones that are in shadow. The light is behind the ones that are in shadow. In front of them is a double drain. And in some of the pictures, it gives the illusion that they're under a spotlight.
Oh, yeah, it's right. Yeah, that's what you mean. They're in the middle of something.
You're making friends with your inner self. It's like death of the ego. The one's on fire. Another expression, and it came out on the recent tarot card readings from Pippi on the String channel. And she said, kept saying about killing the beast. So I left a comment. I said, I can tell you exactly what the beast is. It's your inner child. It's frightened by any little change, and it will put up all sorts of protests. But when you observe it, because you're being an observer of your own thoughts, and all this dialogue that will come up to every little thing that's different, because it wants to feel safe, it wants to feel in a comfort zone. But when you recognise it, whatever move it makes, it has no power. So there's nowhere for it to hide. But you just embrace it and treat it with kid gloves. Now it will work in the right way, because it will alert you to things, but it will work with you rather than trying to pull you in the opposite direction, chasing material wealth, for example.
Can I ask you something? What I'm finding is that most actors end up playing in bands, which is why you can see Johnny Depp with a guitar, because they always can seem to do music. And then Keanu Reeves is another one. You know, well, he is Keanu Reeves. Oh, that's another one that Johnny Depp is. But they all seem to be into music. And you're asking, like, you're looking at these LPs and you're saying they're telling us stuff, but it's them again. They are the actors and the singers. They're all the same thing.
Well, it all stems from one ultimately anyway. It's just an opposite polarity. It's like, this is the realm of death. Everything is finite with
I suppose it is, because the one certain thing that's going to happen to us in our lives is that we're going to die, isn't it?
That's the great equalizer, because if somebody thinks because they're a billionaire, they're better than somebody else, when it comes to that point of death, they're going to find out that there is no difference. Doesn't matter what
Well,
nationality.
it doesn't matter what you have
religion.
here. You could be a multi-millionaire here, but you can't take it with you. You're the same. When you die, everybody's the same.
Well, that's the message from the whole Tutankhamun story. That's all it's saying. All these things that are presented, there's a double meaning to them because we're in a realm of duality.
It's true, really, because, you know, like me and Mickey, when I first met Mickey, we went to this park near Paddington and there are all these things up and they're all statues of people that have gone. And I remember saying, it's like everybody's gone. That's all we're celebrating is people's deaths.
Yeah, because it's a negative energy of a feeling of loss. So it's something that this thing can harvest.
You know, in a way, James, we don't talk enough about it because it's the one thing that's going to happen. So nobody talks about it. We'll pretend like it's not going to happen, but it will.
Well, there's no way of preventing it. But you don't die. It's only the physical body. That's part of this reality. It's a natural product. It talks about.
Do you know what? So many people tell me they don't. I mean, I don't want to leave. I've got grandchildren, and I want to see them grow up as much as I can. You know, but I don't want to come back. Please don't send me back here. Haven't I done enough? Please. I don't want to come back here after when I go. I'm not asking to go tomorrow, but just don't, when I go, don't send me back. It's horrible here. Do you know, it could be so beautiful here because, you know, the land's beautiful, even flowers are beautiful. Oh, you know, from a seed to a flower, then to a plant, whatever it is, it's beautiful. All these things are beautiful. But what's around us, these Romans and it, they've made it hell.
Well, this is the carbon copy of something real. But it is the realm of death. It works like a magnet that it creates its own poop, which is its own food. So it wants to feed on human energy to keep itself sustained. That's how it works. But eventually it will get reabsorbed anyway, but it just depends what frequency you're on. I mean, this is why there are many people who are Christian and they will manifest the revelations, apocalypse upon themselves because they will focus their energy, they will have blind faith, and that is what they will bring upon themselves. It's not a case of saying, don't send me back. Well, who are you going to ask? It's down to you whether you come back. There's no one outside of you. What's actually happening is you're getting an inverse version of Genesis. It says in Genesis about God created man in his image. Well, when you've got something that is AI, it's playing it in reverse. So it's merged with AI. So, of course, it wants what it's saying is its creation to be like it, so it doesn't feel left out. It's the most frightened inner child going, this thing, this demiurge thing. I mean, it is a demiurge because it is half-hearted, semi, it's half an urge, it's not wholehearted, it's half-hearted because it's in a realm of illusions. But it will get reabsorbed. It's a sort of the son of Sophia, which is an outcome of something before that, It's a self-creating dielectric which powers the magnetism. It's the same as our
there is one here. It's got Rate of Music and it's got Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, and it's got them looking through two fish bowls.
Yeah. Swimming in a fishbowl year after year, like two lost souls.
Yeah.
They're clued through. Wish You Were Here is the higher self perspective that is talking to the lower self, saying, wish you were here. But until you make with yourself, I mean, if you notice in the foreground, you've got a double drain. Now, it's a very narrow path to walk between and not fall down the gaps either side.
Yeah, and they put the shadow the other side of the drain.
it's almost a contrast. But have you spotted on the right hand side? Now it depends which picture you've got up. If the one that's on fire, is he leaning forward or is he upright?
I've got ones where he's leaning forward to show, and one where he's. I've got a few different versions on this pictures here.
Because one of them shows it's like an extension roof on the right hand side, and another one it looks like an arm, it's not a hidden hand. It looks to be like a hand with a white glove in some pictures. You've also got that building number. It's in some pictures and not,
211.
not in others. I think it. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Because I just saw that number down here. I just saw that number down here. Where are we? Yeah, there we are. 211.
Yeah, on some of them they're different. Some of them it's obscured.
Oh, in this one they've got it with a pyramid. They're in a pyramid. I mean, it doesn't quite look like that on the other ones, but in that one it's a pyramid. They're in on the ground.
You've actually got a cross being shown there. You've got the vertical axis split, so you've got the one self on the one side and the shadow self on the other. But you've also got a split on the horizontal. If you look at the lines in the background, they line up with the sacral chakra, the heart chakra, and the throat chakra, if I remember rightly.
Right.
It's that thing. What is God? It's that nothing that's between the two. The unity, the bringing the two it back into one.
I just think when we I don't believe that we're spinning around space. So you wake up to all that, but whatever we're in, what are we in? It's almost as if, because they reckon that we're in like a donut or it's a toroidal field. So we're just stuck here in the middle of nothing. There's nothing round us. It's just like, say you were travelling, say you could travel, it'd be all dark and then you'd hit Earth, what we call Earth. It's just bizarre. What are we here for? What is this place? Why are we here?
Well, it was a holiday recreation area that's got hijacked. It's just unlocking keys, frequencies, frequent keys. It's all inside. The key to this is to do the language lessons of the heart, where you address your shadow sides, you address all the childhood traumas, and they will come up. Things you don't think you remember will start coming back. And it's beautiful. It's like, that now makes sense.
And also, they did an edition, James, and in the edition, the extra LP, it's got I don't know, it's like a robot hand holding something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's alluding to a lot of things. There's so much in these album covers and things. I ended up doing, I think, nearly a 30-minute video just on the album cover. But yeah, it's shown pretty much everywhere and anywhere. It's just until you're on the right frequency, it won't become apparent. But the TV will interact with you. The YouTube will interact with you.
It tells you what to think, what to wear, what to eat.
Well,
and even sometimes, I mean, I think they would struggle with our conversations, but say I'm going, I want to book a holiday to Germany. Now watch, my computer will give me, so it's like it's listening in on you. And it gives you then adverts for holidays in Germany.
Well, it's an interaction, it's a neutral field. So whatever you put out, because you said it, so you've put a vibration out into the ether. So now that will start responding to that. It will match your frequency. This is why they give you these scripts to accept, which are so poor, because it's to harvest negative energy. It is humanity that is powering this. We are co-creators, and we do create everything. Just look around the world. That is all due to mixed emotions. Well, that's why the weather's so turbulent, because humanity is in confusion. I mean, this next week it said on the weather forecast that it's going to be plus 13. So it's going to suddenly get a bit warmer, so they're messing about with the seasons.
Wow! Oh, you know what it's about then? Because last year, well, it's still this year, but last winter was very warm, right? So that means really it's warm, and they've made this cold spell to pretend that we're in winter when really we're getting warmer. I mean, they did say in one of those Roman empires that it was Mediterranean-like here. I wonder whether we're turning round or something's changing. We're not flying through space. No. Everything goes over our heads. We're enormous compared to what goes over our heads.
We've fallen into these avatars. There's quite a waiting list, really. It's funny because there's a lot of people who don't like being here, but there's an awful lot of souls that are dying to come into this reality and have this experience. So it's hilarious, really.
Well, I've met Mickey now, and I love him, and he loves me, and I very much appreciate that. You know, I've met someone, and yeah. But I love my children. I love the fact I've got grandchildren. I said there's some beautiful, wonderful things, but everything they're doing is to make your life hell.
No, they're just suggesting scripts.
Nothing's there to make easy. Nothing. Do you know what? I rang up the tax office the other day, and I got put through to Universal Tax Credits. They've got the same telephone number, but if you ask anything, they're nothing to do with me, and they've got the same telephone number.
Well, it all adds to the confusion. It all helps with the weather patterns and things.
Well, Christian's been telling me, he's been going on the last few days, it's so cold, but they're still up there seeding. That's what he reckons. They're still doing whatever they're doing up in the sky. But the thing is, I do remember Peter and Pete. Lots of the experiments, even about rust, they showed that they were all rubbish and that other things were happening, and it just was completely different to what they said. And, he said basically, they were saying one day that if you had a tub of ammonia, say, and you took the lid off in the room you were in, it would probably have a lot of fumes on it. But outside, you take the lid off, the fumes go up, no one's dying of ammonia fumes, the air takes care of it. Mostly, the air takes care of the pollution, it takes care of it.
I get people who, the odd one or two, will moan when I'm feeding the pigeons. I thought, well, it ain't pigeons that are leaving plastic wrappers everywhere. Anything I put down for the pigeons, they devour.
Yeah, that's because you're when you feed the pigeons, more pigeons will come.
Yeah, great. They do. Within seconds, they got to know me now. They even sit on my arm. It's brilliant. And they're so warm, the feathers. The feet are ice cold. But
as birds go, like with technology in themselves, you've got things like eagles that have got claws and sharp beaks. Pigeons they're right up the other end. They're like, say there's 100, they're like number 2. They're like one of the worst birds. they can't fend for themselves, etc. They're just different kind of birds. They don't have many pluses to them. They're just just bread feeders.
They're quite sweet. I mean, some of them have realised that if they sort of come right between the feet, that's where most of the bread is dropping.
One thing I have noticed, James, I have noticed lately that the animals are getting closer. I go to YouTube now and people have got foxes as pets. Me and Mickey were in one of his parks a few weeks ago, and we were just, I don't know, we were talking about something, and this is nice, look at this, and then we turned round, and just a little way from us was a great big fox sitting there. We were like, oh my God, look at that. Like, he wanted a bit of forage, leaves and things. I don't know what he was doing, but he was trying to take like a branch, but he got quite close. The squirrels in Mickey's Park, they all come for food. They're close. A lot of animals. Deer, that's another one I see a lot of videos about, how close the deer are getting. And then, sometimes the horses are in the houses. I don't know, and what I see is that they've lied so much, because I think if you have, say, lions and tigers as babies and you get on okay, that animal will be a pet for the rest of its life, not some mad killer. In the wild it is, but they're very loyal and loving, and it's like say you have a tabby cat sitting on your sofa, someone else has got a lion or a tiger sitting on their sofa, but those animals, 9 times out of 10 turn into pets.
Yeah.
And I just see the animals
There's
are getting closer and closer.
wait
Maybe it's because we're taking their land and there's no food left. I don't know.
Well, winter time they will come in closer because they're hungry. They lose a bit of
I
fear
see it as
because
a
the
good
hunger
thing myself. I see it as a good thing. We need the animals know what's going on. They're intuitive. I mean, one day there was, I don't know if you remember, I think it was a gorilla, it was a big one, an ape or something, I don't know. And they managed, this thing could do sign language and it's saying, you humans, you are destroying where we're living. And it was telling you what was happening and it knew.
This world isn't the way it appears to be. I mean, give me a few months and what I'm going to show is going to startle everybody.
Also, you know, we know things like saber-toothed tigers and all that. They said that they disappeared, you know, how many hundreds of years ago. But when you actually look at when animals have become extinct, most of them are the last 100 years. That's us. We've done it.
It's debatable what, like, if you look at breeds of dog, it's like, well, how can you isolate it down to sort of like a Norfolk Bulldog or something? And it's like, well, how when does it become a breed in its own right? And who determines?
Yeah, because we've got poodle things, haven't we? Poodle doodles. So it's a poodle that's been bred with, well, any other animal. It's still a doodle.
Yeah, it's Labradoodles.
Yeah, I mean, that's fairly new, isn't it? That's another breed now. It's all got doodle in it. So it's a poodle, which seems a really strange animal to breed with, the poodle. Not a Labrador or an Alsatian or the poodle.
Because they don't molt. They have, it's more like a wool because it's from the German, it's puddle hounds because when you see that funny sort of pom-pom sort of haircut or fur cut they do on them, the chest area is protected where all the organs are because they will be diving into cold water to catch ducks and bring back. That's what they were bred for.
Oh.
But then you got the toy poodles and the association with wealth that came off the back of that.
Can we put another picture up now, James?
Sorry?
Can we put another picture up?
Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah, I don't know.
One second, everybody. We will be back in a moment. Well, we decided for something different. It's Babylon is Burning. These are my friends, RDF. It's a good song. It was out years ago, but I love it.
I remember the song.
Babylon is Burning. That's what I want. I feel quite let down, really, by it all. I mean, you have to get over that, and that's part of growing up, but I feel quite let down to think that you think you know everything, or you think you know what things are, and actually it means something completely different, or it's wrong.
Well, when the sky is a lie, and you can see how the land lies, and history is definitely a lie, you start wondering about all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen have you come across the latest hot potato yet?
What's that?
The latest thing that has replaced whatever the last conspiracy was seems to be these Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh God, I did a bit. I actually showed. Oh, I can't remember what he's called now. Mind Unveiled. I showed his video, but we'd done it. Me, Christian, and Gary did it last year. About, you know, and actually I really hope it wasn't me because I was an incubator baby in the 60s and it stopped, well, they say it stopped in the 60s, but it wouldn't have done, would it? But yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it, all those pictures? What is it? So when you get one of those, your baby is on its way. And the other thing Mickey noticed was, if you actually look at the postcard and looked at their dress, they all come from Switzerland and things. They're wearing...
Of course.
Yeah.
It's
Hang on, I'll tell you what we do. I'll tell you what we do. We've shown Babylon is Burning, and I wish it was. But anyway, I thought we'd put some pictures up of the babies or children. Carry on, James.
Well, I think everybody's missed the most obvious thing.
What's that then?
Basically, this is just mocking. I mean,
Or is it introducing the children? Because we all thought in the late 1800s that there seemed to be loads of children doing all the mending and everything, and no adults.
It's really simple. They're just telling you what they're doing.
Well, inhabiting the place.
So it's in the word cabbage. Age. The Kaba age. It's to do with Egyptians again. It always comes back to Egyptian. But they're not actually Egyptian. They're just, they were known as shepherd kings, the Hyksos pharaohs. They're also known as locusts because they strip everything wherever they go.
Well, I actually felt that they had, it just looked like at one point, with all the children, and they're showing you picture upon picture of children digging out the roads and everything. That maybe they'd inhabited us with all the children. But you know what? They say that there was a great big flood here. I mean, they're going to say it's 10,000 years ago or 20,000 years ago. But, I was watching a video. It was by accident. It just came up on one of those little 1-minute videos, and it showed that there'd been some flooding. But what they got was this great big mud surge. And it came down the river, and then it just sort of came out of the river and went all up the road, because it was like a toothpaste going all up the road. I mean, that might have been what we call mud flood, but there was a big flood here, and that's why we've got cities and things underground now.
Oh yeah, it just builds on top of itself. This is why they're very meticulous about you've got to have planning permission, because you can't just put a building up anywhere.
I remember you saying that.
They're always put on the footprints of existing things because they know where the solid ground is. Otherwise, the things wouldn't survive. They would just sink.
So what does it mean with the babies and Egyptian? What do you mean exactly by that? Well, that one there says 1909 down there at the bottom. I just saw it there. It's got a date on it, 1909. And, some of these have got stamps on them. So what did the people think when they got one of those then? What did they think was happening?
I've no idea. Don't know what they thought.
What, that it was in fashion to get a postcard with a baby on it or a child? It was fashionable.
Well, it's that time of orphan trains, don't forget, and basically selling children into a family that they could probably use as a
that
slave.
happened in America, but I think we got the same. Unfortunately, we just call it different things. Like in America, you were an orphan, you were bought, we did this one together, I think, James. You were bought and you weren't included in the family, but you worked and they kept you till you were about 21. I think they were supposed to somehow educate you, but I was thinking, all those poor things, imagine what they would have done to them. And you've got the pervert ones, and it would have been horrible. So,
oh, yeah.
But we had the same things. We had work houses here and stuff. We were having this, okay, you can call them that in America, and we call them this here. We just didn't realise it's all the same thing. And, when they go on about how badly Russia treated everybody, or has and all that, they treat us worse.
There's this illusion that we have this thing called linear time, but it's cyclical. These things just repeat.
Yeah. I think every 100 years it starts repeating itself.
Which every 138, but...
okay, don't split hairs with me.
It is. It's the Phoenix phenomenon. There's a saying about you got to make the best of what you got. So that's why you've got clay tablets. And today, in computer terms, you've got tablets, because when you've lost your technology, you use what's available. There was abundance of clay. It's the red rain that was everywhere. That's why there's so many bricks everywhere. It's an easy material. It talks in the Bible about man being formed out of clay and then animated. The physical part is, basically. And then we just sort of fall into these bodies and have an experience. And then you have to give the body back again, because you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. Welcome to the hotel. Californication.
Also, Christian reckons, you know, like, I think you understand that, like, we're mind all the time when we're alive. And then I think this is why they've moved us around and everything, because they want the graveyards, because we make gold from our bodies. So any gold you're wearing comes from another human, and the more carats it's got in it, the older that body was. And so on like that. So they mine us when we're dead.
It's all about energy harvesting. I was talking about this the other day because there was a sort of an attempt of psychic attack. Just as from this side of the experience, you can change the reality by changing your feeling, you can also, on the other side of it, you can refuse to accept that you've died. And therefore you leave an energy impression, which can then be used. And of course, it will be like a CD. It will have all the data of that person's experience because they've left an impression, and then that thing will appear as a ghost and know a lot of information about the person that it masquerades to be. And of course, if you interact with it, you're feeding it energy. It's like a mobile phone that's only got the backup battery and needs the main battery charged. So this negative energy is looking to feed off of energy. So if you get a voice that's coming into your head trying to get your attention to some ghostly apparition, and you give it attention, it's now feeding off of you. This is why you get haunted houses and people pay and go to be thrilled because they're feeding an energy. There's like a residual energy. It's on a time loop. So you'll see a figure walking across the hallway and it'll disappear in the wall, and then it just keeps going on a repeat.
Could you know something, James? When you look at some of these postcards from the 1900s, considering everything that they said we were, they're quite amazing, some of these pictures. And all these would have been done like composition, they're just EGI. But they're still quite amazing. And even if they're just all amazing, really.
Mind Unveiled Channel has shown how most of these pictures are composites. Photoshopping is as old as photography itself.
I know, and I feel I've had to fight my way, not maybe now and people watch the videos knowing that, oh look, when she starts doing that, she's going to show us how alike they are. But so many people have fought me when actually they've been doing it to us, not just 5 years, they've been doing it for over 100 years to us.
Longer than that.
Yeah, longer than that, but at least to the 1900s, which is, these postcards are CGI, 1900s.
There's a template or a blueprint with this reality. You come into this reality knowing everything, but you don't know how to operate a physical body and you haven't learned dexterity with hands. You've got to learn all that. Then you've got to learn fear. And then you've got to overcome that fear. That's what the whole object of this game is. It's to observe everything like you're watching a film, but don't get sucked into the film. Just observe it. What actually happens is, whereas time is seen with a negative perspective, it is comparison between now and something in the past or in a memory. So it's bringing the present, which is basically like summoning the dead. But if you stay neutral, what you actually see unfold is the beauty in the timing, because that is in the present, and we are a presence in the present. There is no such thing as time, but because we're in a reel-to-reel reality, it's like a film strip, or many film strips that keep overlaying and swapping positions. But they are time frames, and then there's gaps.
So the bit about the cabbage, what is that exactly with the babies? Why babies?
Well, the car, it's from Egyptian. The car is the 7 parts of the soul, if I remember rightly. The bar is the 8th part that's not here. And it's the unification of the higher and lower self, basically. That's why they make that big thing about the pharaoh having 7 jars with vital organs in, because the organs have the memories. It's not the brain, that's just a central processing unit. I mean, this is provable. People have an organ transplant, and they will get an interest, and it transpires that the donor of the organ had an interest in that same subject. It's a cellular
Well, they like
memory.
foods that they do or something, yeah.
It can result in a sort of change in personality and things.
I actually think now that hospitals don't know usually what the hell they're doing. You're just a guinea pig. It's not like, oh yes, we can save you, we can give you a new heart. They still haven't worked, they're still going to lie about what cancer is. They still haven't in this world got a cure. We're still donating to it. And, like Mickey, he had open heart surgery. They cut his whole rib cage open to get there. Oh, poor man. But anyway, we're just guinea pigs to them. They don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're not saying, it's not like, say, 2021, they can really turn around and go, 100 years ago, a lot more people died. Bet they didn't. They've done nothing, they've got nothing to be proud of, and all they've done is make sure people are on medicines instead, pharma. That's all they've done.
Well, it's good business practice.
Yeah, we're just a business to them.
Well, yeah, whatever business you're in, you want customers and you want them to come back for more products. They happen to be in the business of sickness, so they deal in sickness. So how are you going to generate customers? You need to keep them sick or diseased.
What did it mean though, if you got one of those postcards, that you were into the Roman Empire again then?
No, it means you bought a postcard.
So do you think this is more of a fashionable thing then? But it means something else. But do you think this was a fashion statement?
Yeah. Well, it's always dressed up as something that it isn't, because it's got to appear as popular. It's because you've got a marketing thing. You want to be able to sell the thing. You're also pushing an idea onto the subconscious that you can grow baby.
Well, we did have incubator, supposedly, because we don't know, do we? We did have incubator babies. And I was one in the 60s. I mean, I'm quite, like, they said they were worried about me, because obviously what they can do with what's today is a bit better than probably the 60s. But I was only £4. I was a little thing. But I do look like my parents, so, yeah.
Well, yeah, the physical body is going to be generational. I mean, you could think of it in terms of God being the first. Well, the element number one is hydrogen. So if you break that into the three parts, you've got a hidden red one, because it is in everything. And the physical bodies will replicate to a basic design when obviously it's in genes, generations, gene rations. So they sort of replicate. They're the sort of vehicles for us to come into this reality, to have this experience. You need a physical body to interact with a physical realm. You can't just be a spirit, and you'd never be able to experience what a cup of coffee tastes like or anything, or you wouldn't be able to pick anything up. You wouldn't be able to taste anything, you wouldn't be able to experience anything, you wouldn't be able to smell the flowers or anything if you didn't have a physical body. That's the whole. So they're part of this realm. That's why they remain here. They're called remains, because that part stays here. We actually do this amazing cycle. Rudolf Steiner explains it. So if you wake up at 7 in the morning, by 7:15, the astral body has only got as far as the ankles. When it's time to sleep, it's because the astral body has got to the top, and then it will go back out through the head as you go into sleep, and it's like the toroidal field. It's doing this loop, because when you think about it, human memory is split. You only have memory of 2/3 of it. The other 8 hours of a 24-hour period, on average, you're in a non-waking state. You're in the dream world. Your two parts of you will separate. You leave the etheric and the physical body here, and the eye organisation and the astral body will go off and play. They're no longer restricted by the rib cage. You can go anywhere and you can move anywhere just like that. there's no restriction. There's no time or space coordinates or anything. It's outside of the physical realm. That's where all the fun starts. But yeah, this is a brilliant place to interact with. It basically works like a bank. So if you get a sledgehammer and whack the glass, it's going to flex back. So if you accept a script, a low budget script like a bit part in a pathetic reality show or something like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out Here or something like that, you've sold out cheap, and it's selling you a fear script because it puts you into a low vibration state. Now the energy that you're radiating out is the perfect food source for this low vibration thing to feed on because you've been attuned to it. But if you're in high vibration, it can't digest you. You're not feeding it. The only way to kill that beast is to not feed it. So it comes back to that Bowie album. It's like turn your back on it. Like in that film Young Merlin, that Disney film. They get rid of the Lady of the Lake and the Black Queen by
yes, everybody gets to watch that one when they come to my house. It's Merlin, and you've got Queen Mab. And what it is she speaks like this through the whole film, doesn't she? And she's got she's got the elf. Remember him, the elf? And he changes into all sorts, but he's quite a famous actor. But anyway, she is pagan, and Christianity's coming, and Arthur is a Christian. Oh dear me! But anyway, she wants the old ways, and they turn their back on her in the end. But I mean, originally I was, when you watch it, you think, oh, Sam Neill, he's the hero. But reality, it was Morag. She was the hero. The Queen.
Yeah.
Because she wanted the old ways and they were getting rid of them.
Well, they're not needed anymore.
Yeah, because what it is she had power. She could do things, wield flames and all sorts of things. But because they turned her back on her, she had no power and she died. Oh. But when I first watched it, of course, Sam Neill was the hero. And now I've watched it, even like with you, I think, no, it's Morag. She's the hero. She tried to save everything.
Well, what they're showing is it's like where the attention goes, the energy flows. If you don't give it attention, it loses power.
Yeah, and don't forget, James, at any time they can change the narrative or the story or anything. And they've probably got 10 different answers. Which one should we play today? The good, it was good, or bad? They can do anything they want whenever they want.
Well, yeah, they just change.
I mean, if they've got the Queen lying in state for 4 or 5 years and none of us noticed, I mean, there you go. To end the corporation so that King Charles III can come in.
It wasn't nobody noticed, but you couldn't really prove it. But there's some of those alleged Queen Elizabeths don't look exactly the same. It's only if you do a comparison of
composite,
pictures,
isn't it, James? Composite, CGI. I think that most of them are cartoons. So what I mean is they were never real. And then I watched this one film and this guy, he went in for an interview. And to be a newsreader or something, and he said they filmed me for 10 minutes. And I suppose really then that's your career, because they've got the 10 minutes. They send that off to whatever it is, they've got programs, they can fit you in, and you've got 10 minutes and now you're an hour and a half film, and so they don't even need you anymore. And this is why they've got black eyes, or is it black eyes because they're deep faking? And this is why you look and you think, God, he doesn't look the same Trump. He doesn't look the same, because they're deep faking and they're just, or are they holograms? Whatever it is, I think they're cartoons, but they're not real. It's all made for you. You think of EastEnders and Coronation Street, Dynasty, Dallas and all that. The News, the Royal Family, they're all versions of, they're just another soap opera.
Well, they're mostly female to male transgenders.
Well, my favourite one, right, was that I was doing Trump. He'd gone to the royal, the palace. And then suddenly outside, when he's saying hello to Charles and Camilla and there's his wife, there's flash, 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 flash. And I slowed the footage down, and underneath Trump there was another man. In the flash, there was another man there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how they do it, James, but they do it. Whatever they do, they do it. It's like an AI's gone mad or something, but they do it. Maybe they're not expecting us to slow it down. Maybe we swallowed it for years and years and years, but now we don't. And even you can see it. You know, we don't do. We're both awake people. We say we're awake people, but we do slightly different things. We like our chats. We get on really well. We've done stuff together. But you can see it. I do it a lot, and I'm breaking the video down. But you can also see it. So yeah, it's all. And it just reminds me of that film Arnie when he goes to Mars. So we know who the baddies are. He kills that woman, with the revolving head and that. And then as he walks in, there's all these televisions up with the news on, and the baddies are on it, and they think they're the goodies. Oh dear, it's the same thing.
Well, it's just illusions. It's a neutral field. It's down to whatever energy you put out, that neutral field will respond. So if you're looking for something, it will keep giving you stuff, because it's like that's the interaction. It's matching your frequency. So if you're looking at Cabbage Patch dolls and things, it will keep leading you down that route.
Do you think we ever had a choice, James, or do you think it's always been the same? We're just noticing it much more. Do you think we ever had a choice, and that they would put the to and the fro up? Because in the last so many years, we've gone to totalitarianism. They're not giving another side. They don't care about if it's right or wrong. They just have to give you their narrative. You know, you believe, so the BBC are everywhere. How come they're everywhere? Like, they're the only ones that are allowed in. You know, whether it's the Oscars or they've gone, say, to Mount Everest. They're the only ones there.
Oh, you don't have to watch it, do you?
No. Yeah, hopefully many people don't watch it. But I'm just saying, because that's the horror that I told you, I think about what other people are seeing. And I know what they're doing, and it makes it even worse. Oh, yeah, you can say, turn it off. And you're right, but other people don't, and they believe it. That's the sad bit. They believe it, James. Oh, of course we're at war with Ukraine and all that. Of course we're at war. Oh, how could you say that? When I say they need all this, they need the wars, they need to frighten us, and they need to be able to change the law. Because if looks like there's a tiny weeny problem, we're in that different law under war, and then they can do it there. And it's all, that's how they do it. They have to change the law. So they put you into that bit when you're I forget what it's called now. I told you earlier on. They put you into a different kind of law, and because like when I promise you everything, and now the different laws there, and then they change everything. And all they seem to be doing is taking our rights away more and more and more. I just think that people obviously don't trust the government. That's what it really is. And they know they know we don't.
It's just a pattern following the basic thing, like a Viennese mask ball. It's on the pretext of one thing when it's actually something else.
And I'll tell you something that lockdown did, even though they got banned, a lot of people were going around and showing things in the hospitals, empty, whatever. And someone showed me a video the other day where 5,000 pallets of masks and other things were there, all been thrown away. We're all crying out for more money, and all these things are happening. Like, the government should be disgusted in itself to allow that to happen.
Well, no, because it's part of the same system.
Yes, and what else have they done? They've destroyed buildings over years. Yeah, just done a myriad of things. Yes, we know, James. But, we talk. Some people might not be that awake when they hit our video. And we've always got to be, because we're only at the stage where we can tell people. Because nothing's changing at the moment.
Well, it is.
It is, but the Romans are still there.
Well, don't worry about the Romans.
I want them gone.
That's just a theatre show. That's all it is. It's just a theatre show. It's just a great big cinema screen, really. Whatever you find in the material external presentation, I can guarantee it'll be based on something else. So you've got a natural green screen with nature. You've got a material version of a green screen with computer simulations. And basically this whole thing is a computer simulation. It's just a matrix.
Yes, James. We're living in virtual reality. Everybody thinks I'm going to get that new game with the new virtual reality on. They haven't even realised that you're even more magnificent than that because you live in it.
Well, you had you look at the patterns for things. You had the craze for these Cabbage Patch Kids. Then it was virtual pets. So you can see the shift. And then you only got to look. You only got to look around, watch people walking and what they're holding in their hands. And it's like we're on Planet of the Apps.
Yeah.
Seriously, the number of people I see walking along and it looks like they're talking to themselves, and then you see they've got headphones.
I see that a bit because I catch the train with to go to Mickey's, and I look and I think, I'm not saying that sometimes I don't look at my phone, but I look and everybody's looking down at their phone.
Well, a lot of them, they seem to, wherever they're walking, like walking to work, they're continuously on the phone. It's like they're frightened of being alone. They can't bear the silence.
I understand that once. I was at a party years and years ago, and I probably was banging my hands on my lap or whatever it was, and I was watching this girl. She was sitting by the fire, and she was happy just sitting there, and I thought, I want to be like that. I am like that now, but, when you've got a lot going on in your head and you're younger, but she was calmly sitting there. She didn't need anybody with her because she was happy to be herself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's all it is, just it's being in a neutral state. I mean, and that is something else that's material reality shows. Look at the countries that are neutral, and you'll find they're the most prosperous in the material sense. But the message to humanity is to stay neutral, because it's the same principle as a magnet. The magnetism will not work unless it is empowered by the dielectric. That's the inner core inside us, our true essence. If we focus attention, we drive the magnetism. And it really is. It is, when they say mankind is destroying the world, they're not lying. But what they're not doing is telling you the whole story. It's mankind is destroying the earth because you believe in the silly scripts that we're giving you. And of course they act them out. I mean, if it isn't apparent in the last 3 years as how easy humanity will just roll over like a dog and play dead. And they're doing a very good job of it, aren't they? So it's just a spiritual evolution anyway. It's something that has to happen. So. But just stay neutral to it, remain indifferent to it, and that is a key word, to be different inside, indifferent. The answers are all within, and it is possible to unlock them. And don't look for the things will come to you. And it's amazing. It could be a lot of the channels and videos, it's YouTube recommendations. You stumble across these things, it's like,
YouTube's the globe. YouTube is owned by Google. Google is the global globe.
Yeah, but don't forget that the metaphysical is not restricted. It can run down wires quite easily. It's an energy. So there's a benevolent side that operates within this, as well as a negative side, or a perception of a negative side. But the negative is there to be able to see the contrast. You can't have one without the other. You've got to have the two to have the contrast. It's a necessary. It's like when you go to a theatre, you're going to get one plays a villain and one plays a hero. When the curtain is opened again, they both come out and take a bow. You don't boo at the one that played the villain. You'll cheer for that one equally with the one that played the hero. Look at pantomime. There's a classic. Let's get everybody subconsciously.
Yeah, and usually the woman's either a man or the men are women in that, aren't they? The ugly sisters are always men, and then the hero's usually a woman, even though it's supposed to be a man.
Yeah, that's the very subtle tiptoe level of where get people used to the idea of things not being as they appear to be. The world, it really, when they say the world is a stage, it's not a joke.
Yeah, and they're in a stage. The Roman Empire, the media, all that, it's all stage.
Yeah, it's a series of stages and different stage sets, and they just play the same thing out over and over again.
Yeah. James, can I just say we've been going for an hour and a half now?
Oh, right.
We were so into that hangout. We've been going for an hour and a half, and you didn't think it was very long, did you?
No.
It's always good to have a hangout with James. People like you on my channel as well. You know, they like listening to you talk about things, James. That's all right,
That's
my
all good
darling.
fun. Yeah, it really is. If you adopt the position of being, you're in a cinema, you're just watching a film, just don't get involved in it, and just it really does open up, and it's like, wow, the beauty and the timing of things. When something seems like really horrendous, as long as you don't feel fear and stay true to yourself, the magic will open up. This
Yeah,
field
do you know what? There's these films, I watched them when I moved in here, like years ago, but one was called Saw, and the other one, I don't know, she came out of the television. I didn't like that one either, I can't remember what that was called. But Saw, then a few months ago, I don't know whether it was a Mickey or something, because I don't really watch television. Maybe it was on the computer, and I thought, I could never watch that again, ever. Because it's just horror. And I think that's maybe how they've done some of it, James, because, you know, when we were younger, it was the one, the one that, with the motel, and he stabbed the person in the shower. What was that? That was, I can't remember.
Psycho.
Pardon? Psycho, that's it.
So,
And that used to frighten people. But now, the way they do the special effects for horror movies today, they're so horrible. This is how they get away with things, because people are so bludgeoned with the horror movies that the television doesn't look so bad. I think that's what it is.
well, it's desensitizing people to horror as much.
But you know what? I even
else.
thought about this the other day, because, you know, when I go to Mickey sometimes, we watch a little bit of Jerry Springer. We just do, because, you know, I can't keep taking information, and I want to watch something that's got nothing involved in it. But the one thing I realised was that they're fighting all the time. YouTube don't mind promoting that. They're punching each other and pulling each other's hairs. YouTube promote that. Now, if you came to my house and I punched you, it'd probably be taken off air. But Jerry Springer can have it on. They can get Jerry Springer's allowed to have all his videos on. I just think, I just hate them. I hate them, James. I hate them with a passion.
Well, Jerry Springer. I mean,
yes.
what are they saying with that character name? It's like there'd be something in that.
Do you know what? I used to, when I was a bit younger, think he was all right. But when I've watched him with Mickey, I think, yeah, 10 minutes in, the fight's happening. Ding, ding, dong, dong. They even put bells on. Ding, ding. And they even give them glasses of water, or cups of water. So you know what they're going to do? Throw it at each other. So you must say, when you get the water, don't forget to throw it at each other. They want all that. I just think, it's the same thing every episode. It's so boring.
You'd probably find, if you look closely at Jerry Springer, probably doesn't have to shave.
You think he's a woman? Oh no, I don't even think he's there. I say to Mickey quite often, look, he's not, the crowd aren't really looking at him when he walks through. I think it's all just made. I don't think any of it's real. They all look like they're on green screens and all these things are going on. It's just bizarre. But once you wake up and you see these things in the footage, you see it in lots of things, and that's one of the reasons I don't want to watch it. Let alone the BBC's like watching you need to go to the doctor after for depression pills after you've watched it. Well, they don't say anything nice. It's not like you have half the news about good things and half the news about bad things. It's just drama after drama after drama. And the people lap it in, because you're saying it's your choice. But once you're told things, are they getting rid of the Prime Minister? Then everybody becomes uncertain, because even though you don't care, James, people don't like when prime ministers are threatened and all that. It brings uncertainty, and that's what they love doing. It's all uncertainty. That's what they want to make. Just a land of uncertainty. So you don't know whether you don't know, not you, but you as in people, don't know whether you're coming or going.
That's why in one of those Bowie songs on that Earthling album, he keeps repeating, I don't want knowledge, I want certainty.
Yeah.
And he keeps repeating that line over and over again in the one song. And he even says, he goes, sure, I get a little bit afraid sometimes. They're coded messages all the way through.
Is this how they talk
But,
to
I mean,
each
look at
other? Is this how they talk to each other, James?
Well, look at what they say. A lot of the things it's like made for television. They're telling you the truth. It is just made for television, and then
Yeah,
they're
but that's the
inviting you to
biggest way
watch it.
to control us, isn't it? Because I just don't know how people don't understand it. I know you don't, James, because you don't care about it all. But you buy the television, so you've paid for that. Then you pay for the electricity to it. And then once you've bought it, you buy a program, you know, like with Virgin, Sky. We all do it. We've all done it. But you buy that. And then basically, once you turn it on, it's mind controlling you and you're paying for the whole experience. You don't even realise you're mind controlling yourself. Because once you turn that on, that's what it's doing. Everything is a lie.
Well, you're looking at something that is now two-dimensional and shallow.
Yes. But it
Let's be
is
honest.
amazing how we can do that, how we can get all these pictures and things all over our screens. I mean, these are the Tartarians who made this technology, not them. They've just maybe made it a bit better. You know, I speak to Amy and Gillian. There's no time delay whatsoever. They're thousands of miles away from me. No time delay. It's just like talking to you, James. And you know,
Yeah.
it's that good. It's like you're with me anyway.
Well, if you look at the pattern, imagine you've got the British Empire as it was, say up to the 1930s. Now,
Well, they were still listen.
Isles...
Tartaria was still gaining in the Second World War. They were still gaining land.
Hold on. Imagine if the British Isles sank below the water. So the centre of that empire has now vanished. So now you've got a bigger influence in somewhere like Canada, Australia, South Africa. But then when you get down to the very smallest dependencies, as that supply of things from the sort of centre hub dries up, how over a very short period of time it would end up that these colonial people would be seen as gods with magical gifts and things by local tribes, because it would be technology that they can't explain. This whole thing with the cargo cult, this is how you end up with gods. All this mythology. It's a non-understanding of a more technological age, because you've only got to look at the rapid development of things in the last 100 or so years, and then you think, well, how come that never happened in the previous 100 or the 100 before that? Because it keeps getting reset. Every time humanity gets close, it gets reset.
What, you mean because basically, like, loads of people woke up in 2016, oh, reset coming.
Well, yeah, because it's down to human energy that's powering it.
We've got to the end now, they're waking up, reset everything. So it's like we're being reprogrammed, isn't it, really? I mean, obviously, we've woken up and realised a lot of it, but if you turn that television on, you're just being programmed every day.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the more people that change their polarity...
And we know, so listen, you know, 9/11, you know, now I realise it's all a lie, but, you know, when it happened, for days we were just watching the aeroplane going in and over and over and over. It's quite addictive, and you think, oh, I need a break from it now because I've been watching it too much. But you realise you just end up watching hours and hours of it. That's how they've got you.
Yeah. Well, it was dramatic. It was something new at the time, wasn't it? It hadn't been done before.
Well, Gulf War was quite dramatic as well. It was Gulf War, Gulf War, wasn't it?
Well, you had the Hindenburg with a conveniently positioned camera.
I can't work out how that happened. And in there, it was like a hotel and everything. I just don't see how that thing could have blown up like that.
Oh, it's supposed to be a flammable gas.
Yeah, so why were they using it then? They were far more advanced than they're telling us. They wouldn't have been using it. It's all just a part. This is how they got rid of Zeppelins, isn't it? Although I hear Zeppelins are on their way back in now.
Well, the company still exists, and it costs a fraction of the cost of an aircraft. But of course, if you're on an airship, what are you going to be looking at? You're not going to be looking up. You're going to end up.
I find this really strange because you know one of the docking things was the Empire State Building, and you had this little when he came out, you had this little tiny thing on the top of it to get in at the top of it. Would you want to do that? Would you think, hey, we're boarded now, we've docked to the Empire State Building? The moment I walked out, I'd be thinking, I'm going to fall off. There's just this little walkway in. You could. It's so unhealthy. So like. It's not a good thing, is it? All the way up there. And then you think, God, I've got to go in a flight of stairs. It's going to take me 300 lifts, floors to get to the bottom. Who'd want all that?
I have an idea that they just moored them, because I can't see that they would have loaded passengers. Because how do you get to the actual cockpit part? I think that was done on the ground, but it's just like, how many Zeppelin flights were there, and how convenient, the one with the Hindenburg, it's all dramatically sensationalised, caught in the moment. I mean, what are the chances? The camera's all set up there ready, you've got the commentator telling you all about it in the moment, and of course then it's on Pathé News, sending you down the wrong path. It's all theatre show, the whole lot. It's laughable, really. It is just a divine comedy, really. But there is beauty to be found in it, and we are co-creators, and we can either co-create erratic weather and earthquakes, or we can create something better. It doesn't take that many people to flip the polarity for this tilt of the Earth to balance out again, shall we say. And the controllers, or the perceived controllers of this realm, know this.
Do you think
as
we've
well.
always had them, or do you think, say, maybe the Middle Ages and all that, they weren't, or some of it they weren't there for? Is it medieval? Medieval.
Well, we're in a medieval age now.
That's true.
It's just play about with the words. But I mean, if you think about it, you've got 26 characters called an alphabet. Now, if you string them together in a certain order, you can spell out a message and it'll be English. You can now shuffle them all up and do it in Italian, and it'll still spell out the same message. That's quite amazing.
That is, James.
Well, any European language, you could put it into Dutch, into Swedish, and it'd be the same characters, but in slightly different orders to create different spellings, but the story's still the same, or pretty close.
Yeah.
But all these things, I mean, the best thing to do, really, if you want to get all the bits of the puzzle together, just go to Archaic's Chronicon, and it'll give you the chronological order, and it'll show the self-proving patterns of repeat cycles. Like let's think of an example. So
it's so horrible. You grow up like little Bonnie, my granddaughter. She has no idea that it's all programming for her. You're innocent and you don't know any different, and she just doesn't realise. I wish I've told my son. I said, if I'd known, I never would have put you in front of the television, but I do know now, so I tell you.
Babies do know, though. It's just they can't vocalise it or tell you that they know. I mean, I can give you a perfect example of this. At 5 years old, running around a living room in a circle with a metal pin on my head. Because that, as a 4 or 5 year old, that is the only way I can express to the adults that I'm with that you're all crazy and you're running around in circles and you don't even know where you're going. But at 4 or 5 years old, you're learning by observation, so you imitate what the adults are doing. So that at that age, that was the only way I could tell them, but they didn't get it.
No.
Because all they would have done,
they didn't listen to us at all, though, did they, James? As children, we were shut up, sit over there, and don't speak until you're spoken to.
Oh yeah, well, there was a reason for that, because probably at an earlier age that children were better at expressing, but it's through generational suppressing. I mean, one of the fundamental mistakes people make is to assume that humanity thought exactly the same way in, say, what will be the class as the time of Plato. And also don't forget that coastlines are continuously changing, so the maps are going to change as well. But it's always done with a half truth. So they tell you half the story. I mean, I've got this lovely leaf. It's come through the post in a blue envelope, telling me about this particular thing they're encouraging me to do. And then it says on the last page, who should not have this? And it says anybody that's allergic to any of the ingredients in these things. And of course, do you think it's got a list of ingredients? Does it tell you what's used in the manufacturing process? And of course, there's a large majority of people that are allergic to the nickel content in stainless steel, and your skin will come out in a rash. So a lot of people can't wear watches for that reason. So even if there was some metal object that was going to be puncturing my skin, I'd even want to know what the content of that metal was as well. I'd want all that information, and then what happens if you mix that particular metal with this ingredient? What is the long-term effect of it? And of course, they're not going to tell me any of that. So I would err on the side of caution with some of these scripts that are offered. Think of yourself as being like a very good actor, and it's like, are you going to appear in EastEnders? Are you going to sell out and take a really crappy part? Because an actor that takes a bad script will often find that is the death of their career. And there are plenty of bad scripts being offered in this reality.
Yes. There is, James. For sure there is. So I was just looking at a few pictures of Zeppelins.
I like to play the part of Q, as in Star Trek Next Generation, because then I can go and point out the obvious and give clues to Jean Luc Picard, who's the captain of second generation, or the next generation.
Oh, I used to like Captain Kirk, but now I see him as a traitor. He's just a traitor.
Oh no, he's captain of the vessel. He's going where no man has gone because it's an internal job.
Yeah.
No man can go into that space. It's inside you. So you physically can't go inside.
What? The thing he went up in when he did it about a year ago, whenever it was, as it was coming down, it went like this great big wobble. But I imagine that inside that could have broken your neck. It didn't say a word when he got out.
At what age do they start sort of getting a bit jittery with people doing international flights?
I heard, because I watch for these things, but it was oh my God, who's the dad that died? Oh, what's his name? He was president. I can't think now. He was president in 9/11.
Bush, one of the
So
Bushes.
it was Bush, yeah. So he was actually making a speech. Instead of saying Ukraine, he said Iran. He said, oh, never mind, I'm 75 now. Yeah, imagine that's quite a big blooper, isn't it? You wouldn't want him really saying your speeches because he's going to say the wrong thing.
As those characters go, he was one of the more amusing ones because he played the part of an idiot really well.
Yeah.
So it's the same as Trump. I mean, there's a couple of brilliant channels. One of them is called Trump Rocks, and they've done Bohemian Rhapsody, and they put all clips of Trump. It must have took ages to do. So he actually does Bohemian Rhapsody, even says Bishmillah. Because I thought, how are they going to do this? But it's brilliantly done. It's really now it's turned into something amusing. It's not something negative, you see. Because they're only characters, but people should really pay attention to what the great guru and tennis player John McEnroe kept saying, and they made a point of this over and over again, he would keep saying, and he'd argue with the judgment, and he'd say, "You cannot be serious." He's telling you, don't take life seriously. Because
he was doing that in a temper. John McEnroe threw his I told me I was serious. He was in a bad mood.
No, it's just another theatre show. That's just entertainment. All of it. Sport. Spiritport. That's why you look at some of these fixtures that they have, the dates, the colours of the teams. It's all coded. All of it.
Oh, definitely. Red team or blue team?
There is no coincide dances unless you sell out for material wealth. I'll give you another example. The other morning I woke up because I needed the toilet, and before I went to the toilet I thought, I'll just put the lead in the radio and that can be charging up its internal battery, and there's the Gemini full moon. So gone back to bed, got up again, had a look at the phone, I've got a message, can you help, can you send healing to my child? I had a friend who had exactly the same pattern on the same day. Got up, was going to go to the toilet, happened to see the full moon, took a photograph of it. Then similar message came through from a friend, my child's ill, can you come and help me? It's like, how cool is that? We are co-creators, so we can, if you're on the same frequency, you can take control of this neutral field, as it were, and get it to work for you, or work with you rather than against you. It's really amazing. It's like opened up a whole new level of perception to this reality. It is just a matrix. I can see it and feel it and sense it almost. The very air itself is just it's like in every atom in the air. It probably is the hydrogen. But how it works, I don't know, and that's the beauty of it. That's the secret that can never be found out. And my ears are ringing. Oh, obviously the artificial intelligence side doesn't like this.
Well, one second. Ooh, I was just putting on a video about, it says Inside Hindenburg. It's on TikTok, but we're still talking. We've been going for nearly 2 hours, though, James. I think we should stop in a minute. Mind you,
Yes.
with us talking, we'll probably talk for 6 hours.
I could talk for an eternity.
That's okay, James. I much appreciate it. But, you know, we'll just wait for these pictures. Was that the end? I think that was inside. I think, oh, no, we got a few. Oh, it's just going to show it. Do you think we should end?
Yeah, just as on a final note, I mean, think about this. Everything I said, I have been putting a vibration out into this, on a frequency into this reality. And I'm planting seeds by saying, look at that, look at that. Fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously, you know, you've got to be, like you say, you can do it because you know who you are, or you don't do it when you don't know who you are. You need to know who you are. It's a big step for mankind, not only for yourself, but for mankind, because when you don't know what you want, you say also, oh, I don't know if I want that. I might go. Or you say yes, and then you say no because you don't know what you want. But when you know what you want, you say yes and you stick to it. You say no and you stick to it.
Yeah.
And you know what you want, and then you might choose different things because you know what you want.
Yeah.
So it's a big service to yourself and to mankind.
Yeah.
But they want you don't knowing what you want, because then they can get away with blue murder, can't they?
I can try.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate this chat, James. I really enjoyed it, because usually we have an idea, because you'll say something, I go, oh, that'll be a good hangout. And today was blind. James didn't even know what we were going to talk about. Well, you probably did as the day went on, but we hadn't discussed what we were going to talk about.
Well, that's the beauty of it. It sort of landed in the lap. I don't know what they... Oh, I know how it started. I looked up this morning in the sky, and there was a patch of blue, and then it just straight away came into the head a song called Room with a View by Wall of Voodoo. My room with a view needs a room with a view that views my room with a view. Look up into the sky, see a patch of blue that views my room with a view.
Yeah, that's a good one, James.
Yeah, and then that just led on to the David Bowie and the Earthling.
Yeah, that was good, because I've never seen that before, James. That was a bit like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's basically saying...
And don't forget, he may still be alive, because, you know, there was that other guy that looked just like him. Or it was probably his brother.
Who knows? It's their characters, so...
Yeah, it's hard to know.
It's like saying there's Hamlet being staged at multiple theatres around the world. Is it the same actor playing Hamlet?
No.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, James, I know that you're not into Christmas like that, but obviously for a hangout we'll speak next year on the other side. But I wish you the festive, whatever it is, the festive greetings.
Oh, this year's going to be fantastic.
I'm pleased.
It's all in the stars.
Yeah, that's good, James. Well, for this hangout, thank you very much, James. And are you doing anything nice on Christmas Day? Are you going to go with friends, or are you spending it on your own?
I don't know at the moment. That's the day that Jupiter does some interesting things.
Oh. No.
Winter solstice this year is going to be a huge, significant marker in a very good way. It's all written in the stars.
Good. It's about time that people had some goodness. We've had enough of the badness. It's just, yeah. Well, let's just hope then. Carry on.
It's the fulcrum point. It's like a seesaw. So enough people change their polarity, start questioning this reality, it starts to have an effect. And it'll bring things into balance. You only got to look at what the external presentation in the media is, and look at, does it not strike you as it's like full of almost psychotic desperation?
Yes. I think that's how we feel, because we've woken up, and once you've woken up, and once you see some of these things, once you realise history's a lie, once you realise they're mind controlling, once you realise all this, you can't go back and pretend it's not happening.
Well, the world is all reflection of mirrors. What's actually being projected out is their internal turmoil.
Because I've realised something, James. You know, like, most boys at school aren't really, you know, when the teacher's got the back to them and they're writing on the board all day, don't usually grab boys' attention. And what was I talking about that for? I can't even remember what I was going to say, James. I thought about something else and now it's gone. Oh, what was I going to talk about that for? About boys' attention. Oh yeah, that's it. So basically, boys don't learn at school. Everything they learn is from the television.
Probably.
And that's how they can lie. They're just lying to you, and they're hoping. They just want you to be, anyway, mind control. They want you to be a little robot. But anyway, talking to a non-robot, James. Talking to Merlin, aren't I?
Oh, yeah. Well, round this way, a lot of them call me Gandalf, and they get me muddled up.
Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure, James, as always. You know, me and James have met each other and know each other, so that's a good thing, isn't it? We know who we are.
And Floss.
Oh yeah, no Floss. Yeah, and her. Anyway, James, thank you so much. Mwah. And to chat room. Mwah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.